What is up, Soul Fam? Sundar from Substance Over Style. Hope you like the turban. Thought I'd bust out a turban today because I'm doing something with my hair. I've got like a mask in, so it wasn't looking that nice on camera. So I thought I'd bust out a turban. I used to wear turbans all the time. I don't know why I ever stopped. But yes, what are we talking about today? Let's just get the incense on the go. What's this one? I don't even know what this one is. Siraj brand, Mysore, it's sandalwood. Mysore sandalbati. Okay. So let's turn this down a little bit. Okay, so today I want to talk about this whole twin flame thing, because it seems like a lot of people in the community are still suffering with this thing. They're still being harvested by this twin flame thing. And I'm going to affirm, I'm going to set the intention that this video reaches all those who need to hear it at this time. Because I understand that this is obviously going to be triggering information for some people who are still holding on to this thing. So I just want to make sure that it reaches the people that need to hear it right now, and anybody who's going to be too resistant to not take it on is just going to be repelled from the video and not going to want to watch it, because I understand that these things have to come in the right time, and all of these things are here to serve a lesson. Even dark technologies and things that pull us off our higher timeline do ultimately serve a lesson. So it has come to my attention over the last year or so that this whole twin flame thing was more than just, you know, look, I don't know. I didn't want to speak on it because it was something that happened to me, but I didn't realize that, you know, I thought I knew other people were having the same experience. I knew other people were having this experience where they'd met this person, and then there was this whole runner-chaser dynamic, and they thought that this person was their twin flame, you know, their divine union, beloved, and all of that stuff. But then I kind of moved on from it. I was just like, you know, I realized a few things about it, and I was just like, this is bullshit. This is wasting my time. Would I be allowing any other man to show up and treat me like this in the way that this person is if I didn't believe that this person had some kind of magical, spiritual significance? No, I wouldn't. So I got really fucking real with myself, and I just moved on. Then I realized through doing my training in quantum field work under Emily Harris that this was actually happening to a lot of women in the community, that a lot of women had been targeted by this thing. And it seems like it was a deliberate, coordinated attack on spiritual women that have a high level mission, that spiritual women that have a high level mission in restoring the proper codes, Hierogamic codes of divine masculine and divine feminine back onto the earth, and clearing the wounded masculine and wounded feminine distortions so that we can all come into union as healthy men and women of the living soil and, you know, be free and sovereign people. So a lot of it, and it wasn't just women. I don't want to say it was just women, okay? Because there were men as well that got targeted by this thing. And I also have to take some responsibility, because when it happened to me, I obviously started researching and I started talking about it to people in my life about what was happening with me. And some of my male friends also thought, oh, maybe I have one as well. So they, you know, got caught up in the psyop as well. And for some of us, it took years. It basically took years out of our life, and its whole purpose was to keep us off our timeline, to keep us looping in misery, to siphon our heart energy and our sacral energy, our sexual energy, our sophianic feminine essence, and feed it into our conic, my teacher Emily calls it the reptilian interface, okay? And I've done videos on narcissism before, where, you know, I talk about how, you know, narcissists are basically extremely hijacked, fragmented individuals that are hosting entities, and those entities will feed on you. That's why they're so parasitic in nature. That's why narcissists have that parasitic emotional vampiric energy, why they always need to feed on your suffering, why they always need to get reactions out of you, because they're literally feeding on your loosh, or their entities are anyway. So the same thing was happening with the twin flame. And these were very real spiritual experiences, okay? I had crazy synchronicities. I would have dreams about this person, and then I would wake up, message them, and they would be messaging me at the same time and saying that they'd also dreamt about me as well, okay? I've heard about people having telepathic communication with the person that they believed to be their twin flame, that they were having astral sex with this person. So these are real spiritual experiences, but that doesn't mean that this is your true divine beloved, okay? Because this is what a lot of people don't realize when they start to wake up. Just because you have a tarot reading or a psychic tells you something, or, you know, they do the muscle testing with the pendulum and they reveal the yes, this person's your twin flame, or, you know, whatever it is, or you have a telepathic experience, or you have astral sex with this person. Just because you're having a genuine spiritual experience with that person doesn't mean that that's the highest truth, okay? And this is something that a lot of people don't understand. It's the same with when you do plant medicines. It's not the highest truth that you're receiving from the plant spirits, okay? Because you're talking to spirits that are at like 6th or 7th dimension, okay? The Godhead is up in 15D. Unless you're connecting directly to God, directly to your creator, you are having a spiritual experience that is not necessarily based in the highest truth, okay? So you could be targeted by trickster spirits, and this is what happens, okay? You have a hijacked person, you know, in this case, the person who you believe is your twin flame, and that person gets some kind of entity attachment, it could be any kind of entity, you know, it could be, I don't know, I don't even want to go into it, because, you know, that's not something that, you know, it's not important. So it's, I don't even want to make out like the other person, the hijacked individual that you're having this twin flame connection with, is deliberately targeting you. No, I don't think it's necessary. It doesn't work like that, okay? Whether it's whatever entity that they're hosting, who is creating this kind of multi-dimensional spiritual experience that you're having with this person, deliberately knows as well, is also not really important. Usually these entities need to feed. They love to feed. If they're separated from Source God, so they don't have their sustenance coming directly from Creator, they will find other ways to feed, okay? So Satanism, and any beings that are separated from God's source, that do not serve the law of one, will become parasitic because they need to feed on others for their survival. That's why we have so many issues in this world. It goes from everything from our debt slavery system, which is kind of the cause of, you know, all the suffering that we see in this world, or a lot of the suffering, you know, everything from human trafficking and you know, the whole you know, garment industry, with the slavery in the garment industry, where, you know, people just need to keep buying cheaper and cheaper clothes, to pyramid schemes and buying programs that teach you how to sell courses that, you know, to people and sign up more people to your program that's going to teach them how to make courses. It's all just pyramid schemes, because we live in a reality in which the architecture has become inverted, because a lot of beings here are not God-sourced. So if you're having this experience, it might be because you are on the starseed mission, because you were sent here as an intervention team, because you were sent here to change things. And this whole experience, yes, it awakens you to the idea that, you know, the union is where your mission gets downloaded, through your union, through, you know, the union of the masculine and feminine. When you have your divine beloved, that is when your mission will become fully activated. But this whole runner chaser thing, that's not how it really works in union, okay? When you meet your person, when you meet your person, they will not run from you. They will know that they might not necessarily know that you're the one. And I'm going to talk about this whole the one thing in a bit. But if you meet someone and you have this crazy intense connection and then they run from you, that's not your person, okay? This whole idea that you have to heal yourself and you have to fix yourself and you have to be perfectly healed and integrated before you meet your person is completely false. It's not true at all. The union is where the healing takes place. That's what happened with me, okay? When I met my partner 3 years ago, firstly, I didn't know that he was the one. Again, I'm going to talk about that later in the video. I'm not sure I even necessarily believe in the one, but I'll clarify because there's some nuances to this idea, okay? When I met him, a lot of my wounds and my shadows started coming up to the surface to be healed and alchemized. And the same with him, okay? We triggered each other in the beginning and we balanced our energies. Now, this happens in a lot of relationships, okay? It's not just with your divine beloved or in, you know, when, you know, because sometimes people ask me like, oh, would you consider that you're in a hierogamic relationship? Hierogamos, which is the alchemy of the masculine and feminine energies within the temple of the human body, right? So we both have, each one of us has both masculine and feminine, okay? So in Hierogamic sciences, they teach that we have the Ida channel, which goes up the left side, is your feminine channel, and the Pingala, which is your masculine, which goes up the right side. So as you start to heal and balance those energies, then they basically start to unify and they cause an alchemical wedding within the body, and that results in a spiritual awakening. So the Hierogamos takes place within you and connects you to God. The relationship is the mirror for, and it helps to alchemize the energies as well, because relationships can be so triggering. They bring up our deepest wounds. So all relationships are hierogamic, actually, because that's what they do. So saying, are you in a hierogamic relationship? Yeah, I mean, as long as you're actively working on yourself and you're actively on the spiritual path and you're on an ascension journey of always seeking truth and getting closer and closer to that truth, to that love that is the divine love and truth of Creator, you will be in a hierogamic relationship, okay? There are certain toxic relationships that will pull you off that path, but as long as you're always seeking the path, God will use all of those experiences to actually assist in your mission. It's called dark arts training. So any experience that you've had with a narcissist or with, similarly like a twin flame psyop, it's dark arts training. Once you learn how to overcome it, you will help others to overcome it as well. So this whole idea that you need to be completely healed and integrated before you will finally get your union, it perpetuates this idea that as humans we are sinful, that we are damaged, that we are unloved. And look, okay, there are a lot of inversions in this reality, so it is very, very difficult for us to participate in this reality without sinning or without participating in some of those inversions, also known as evil in some way, okay? And I've talked about this throughout my channel when I, talking about veganism and, ethical fashion and all the systems on this planet that are so inverted that, just in order for us to survive and participate within this system, it does involve us compromising some of what we know to be moral and what we know to be just. So yes, we are born into sin in that way, but that doesn't make us unlovable. We're also all very damaged and wounded because a lot of us have experienced a lot of trauma on this planet, because when you're living in an inverted reality, it is by definition going to be traumatic because it goes against God's law. So, that's okay. Like, it's okay that we're damaged. It's okay that we are sinful sometimes. That doesn't mean that we're not worthy of love. And once we realize that, we can clear all these distortions that are basically harvesting our energy and harvesting our loosh and our suffering and our loneliness and our longing for the true beloved. Now, the true beloved is actually God. And when you get really, really close to God, and you start aligning with your highest timeline, and you start receiving those downloads from God, you start listening to the intuitive messages that come from your creator, and you start doing what God asks of you, and in return God will give you what you need in order to do her work on this planet, then everything starts to manifest really quickly, including your true union. Okay, now let's move to the idea of what is a true union. Okay, so in the community in which I've done my training, the Hierogamic community or the Christ Sophia community, a lot of people talk about this thing called genetic equal, which is very similar to a twin flame, but it is, supposedly the organic codex on which the New Age twin flame inverted teachings were based on. And with the genetic equal, it's supposed to be that when you meet them, you come into union. There's none of this runner-chaser stuff. You just get into union and you are together. Now, not saying that you will always, that there will never be any period of separation. There may be a small period of separation while, the both of you figure out whatever you need to do, because especially if you're both called into very high-level mission work on the planet, you may need a little bit of time to yourself to get your ducks in a row, or to figure out if this person is really what you want, because there may be a lot of challenges that both of you have in your life that you both need to figure out together. So, don't take it that, you'll be together and, that you'll never ever break up, because if you feel like you have met your union but you're not sure, I don't think it's this thing. In my experience, it's not this thing that when you're like, this is the one. That's not how it's happened in my experience, okay? I've been in a relationship for 3 years. It's an extremely healthy relationship. I've completely broken the pattern of narcissistic, toxic, abusive relationships, which is what I used to continually stay cycling in. I've repaired my masculine feminine architecture, and I've come back into union with God, and I believe that I'm on my highest timeline. And my relationship is extremely supportive for the work that I'm doing. And a lot of the work that I'm doing, the training ground has been the relationship, because of the work that I've done on myself, that the relationship exposed, if you know what I mean. Like, the relationship will bring up certain triggers and certain areas that you need to work on, and in so doing, as you heal it, the relationship becomes a training ground for what works. So it wasn't like, when I first got together with him, it wasn't like, oh my God, this is my true beloved and my true divine union. Like, I still had doubts. You will have doubts. You will be unsure sometimes, okay? It's not like this whole like Disney idea of like this crazy romantic, like undying love. It doesn't work like that, okay? It takes work. You work at it and you choose to be together because you love each other, you love God, you love the work that you're here to do, and you know that relationships are not just about replacing somebody for like upgrading on each other all the time. Like, our culture has treated relationships and has treated love and has treated God, actually, because love, the relationship container is where God's love pours in. That is the Hierogamic, right? So when you're in union with a man as a woman, then God starts to alchemize the relationship. It's the Holy Spirit comes in and really starts to bring all the shadows to the surface to alchemize and be healed. And it's the same like with sex as well. A lot of the wounds will come up during sex. That's why, when you have like the cervical orgasms, it literally feels very similar to a Kundalini awakening. It's literally God's love pouring in through your crown chakra, because the cervix and the crown are very connected in your light body architecture. So yeah, you won't necessarily be certain that this is your person, but you won't necessarily want anyone else. I mean, I can't say for certain how it's going to be for everybody, because it's probably different for everybody. And I do believe that each union is going to be slightly different in that it's helping different groups of people. Each union serves a purpose to assist others in clearing distortions. So depending on who you are, which bloodline you incarnated into, your relationship will be unique, so that you can assist people who have those kind of similar cultural issues, or, you know, are related to the grids that you're in. So, you know, for example, I have a certain cultural background that some people will relate to, others will not. And so the distortions that I have had to learn to clear, I will be helping a specific subset of the human collective also clear those distortions. So with other unions it will be different. They may have a different story, so they'll have unique sets of challenges. So I can only share my experience. If it resonates with you and if it helps you, great. If it doesn't, maybe I'm not the person to help you with this, but I'll just share what I know, hoping that some of it will help you. If you found this video, then there's probably something here for you. So in my experience, I wasn't 100% certain that this is my genetic equal. I'm not even sure that everybody has this genetic equal. So the genetic equal is supposedly similar to the twin flame. You're one soul at the highest level, at the Godhead, or, you know, in the angelic realms. And just like God, when, you know, for those people who've read, you know, various ancient texts, let's say the Kabbalion, the Hermetic principles being one of them, when God basically creates creation and emanates into form, you get the principle of duality. So God kind of emanates into the masculine and the feminine. So Shiva, Shakti, Christ, Sophia, you know, whichever tradition you follow or you're familiar with. So the same with the genetic equal, are one at the highest level, and then, you know, emanate into form, into masculine and feminine, and incarnate through various different timelines and different star systems and planets, and they've come together on Earth at this time to do a particular mission. I'm not 100% convinced that everybody has one incarnated on the Earth at this time. So, and I think that, you know, worrying about that might keep you single when you're not supposed to be single. Like, I mean, look, I'm not going to say to anybody else what they should believe or what they shouldn't believe, but I've seen a lot of people who have literally been single for like 7 years because they're holding out for this genetic equal, when I'm not convinced that they may even have one. I mean, look, it's like I said, you believe whatever you want, but maybe consider the possibility that the Hierogamic is about you and God, and the closer you get to God... No, okay, let me start again. Consider the possibility that the Hierogamic is about you and your relationship with God, and it's got nothing to do with the genetic equal or no genetic equal. It's just any man that you get into a relationship with will mirror your level of integration. So if you don't have a very close relationship with God, and you're not aligned to the truth, and you don't understand that hey, I'm just filming a video, can I call you back when I'm finished?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Sorry, I just got interrupted by a phone call. Okay, so it's about your relationship with God. And if you're not listening to the voice of God, and you don't have that connection with the, let's say, the immortal masculine frequency of God, the true masculine frequency, you don't know what that feels like in your body, and you think that, you know, masculine is just being a shithead, or sleeping with loads of girls, or being emotionally unavailable, or a commitment phobe, or whatever your beliefs about the masculine are, then you might have, you know, a relationship with the masculine where they don't show up consistently, they're not protecting you, they're not providing for you, they're not claiming you, they're making you feel second best, they're making you feel like other women are more important, they're not fully choosing you, all of that stuff. Whereas if you get really, really close to God, you start to really trust that God is going to do what he has said that he's going to do, what he's promised that he's going to do, or she, if you prefer. I mean, for me, when it comes to union, I prefer working with the masculine aspect of God, because I'm a straight woman and I'm in a relationship with a man. So my relationship with the masculine aspect of God is where I really start to come. I mean, it's both. It is both, because the feminine is how you're showing up in the relationship. But the masculine, when you develop the really solid relationship with the masculine aspect of God, then your relationship with your man starts to really improve. And with the masculine in general, it also heals your relationship with your father. And healing your relationship with your father is really, really crucial if you want to have a healthy relationship with your man, because that's also a mirror that kind of creates an imprint of how we perceive the masculine and how we feel loved by the masculine. So where was I going with this? So whether the genetic equal exists or not, what I will say is the higher you go, the more you align with your highest timeline, and the closer you get to God, the more evolved you are in your spiritual journey. And those of you who are on this path will testify to this fact. You will become compatible with less and less people. So I guess on that basis, you can say that maybe the genetic equal does exist, because there are less and less people which you're actually going to compromise for. Because ultimately, the union, you have to be on your highest mission. If you're on your highest timeline, you have a really close relationship with God, you are going to be doing God's work on this planet, okay? You're going to be doing your true soul mission, because you're going to trust God. You're going to know that everything is going to be fine. You're going to feel confident enough to take that leap, and knowing that God will provide. The second thing is the relation. You are only going to want to be with somebody who has those higher masculine qualities of integrity, of courage, of defending the sacred, the provider, the provision of the immortal masculine, okay? The provision, the provision that we receive from our Holy Father. That's what you're going to expect from the masculines in your life. Like, not necessarily like he covers you fully. That's something that each couple has to decide between themselves, but he has to support your work. He has to support your mission, because as a divine feminine, your masculine architecture is online, so you're very much about mission as well, okay? Mission is masculine energy, and if you're divine feminine, then you've obviously integrated your own masculine. You're in union with your own masculine. So your mission is very important. His mission is also very important to him, and you have to also serve his mission. So when you're both on your highest timeline together, both of you are helping each other with your mission. It ends up becoming a shared mission. So yes, there will be less and less people which you would have that shared mission with, especially if you're really, really connecting to God. Your mission will be very specific to you. It will be extremely unique to where you've been, what you've overcome, where you need to be, like in the world, like what grids you're living on, and all of that stuff, all of the things that make you uniquely you. That will be your mission, and so that person has to uniquely support that mission. So yes, I do. I can see both sides of it, but I do think that this whole believing in the one and believing that this is the only person for you can be dangerous, depending on where you're at in your journey. If you're extremely high level and you're really close to God, and you've chosen your partner really, really well, you've been extremely discerning with the type of man that you've chosen, and you know that he's a man of high character, high integrity, high morals, and all of that stuff, and you fully trust that, then fine, if you're like, this is my person. But you also, and I think it's very important for women, especially with all the things that we've been through on this planet, because women have been through a lot. Like, let's be honest, we've been highly targeted, highly abused, highly denigrated, humiliated, subjugated. We need to understand our worth as women. And we need to be able to have the strength that if we are mistreated, if we are disrespected, if we are spoken down to, if we are betrayed, we have the courage and the strength to walk away. Okay? So that's why I think that it's not always so helpful to believe in this whole idea that this is the one, because this whole I think a lot of it is programming, a lot of it is Disney programming, this whole idea that this is the one person, and this is, and I get it, because I do believe that was God's original promise, that we would be in union, we would be in divine union with one person. We weren't supposed to constantly keep breaking up with people and this whole serial monogamy thing, because it is very traumatic. Like, let's be real. Like, after my last breakup, I was just like, I never want to do this again. I never, ever, ever want to have another breakup. However, if my partner ever disrespects me or violates one of my boundaries, I will walk. Okay, because I'm not believing this whole thing. I will not believe this whole thing that, you know, he is my eternal. I just think that that is very disempowering for women. But, you know, y'all can believe what you like about that, but I would just never encourage women to subjugate themselves in that way and put up with shitty treatment, because I see too much of that, especially in communities that tend to be more conservative and more religious minded. They, you know, because it's so looked down on to give up or walk away from a marriage, a lot of women put up with a lot of bullshit. And I think it needs to stop. So that's my views on it, and I hope that I've helped. If you're suffering with the twin flame psyop, I encourage you to reach out to me. Let me know if I can support you with a one-on-one session. I also do packages as well, which work out much more cost effective, and you get a much better transformation over time. I also have my course, Reclaim Your Crown, which will heal and detox trauma from your body to stop you from looping and getting triggered endlessly, and actually stop you from becoming attracted to people that are, you know, operating at lower timelines in the first place. So do consider that. It's in the link below. I will love you and leave you, soul fam, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out. One love.